If you are in your early to mid-20s, figuring out your next step and assuming the MBA is the only business master's option available to you, this video is going to change that. There is a degree that has been growing in popularity over the years. It's offered by schools such as London Business School, LSE, HEC Paris, INSEAD, and University of St. Gallen, as well as many US institutions such as Northwestern, Cornell, UVA, and Duke Fuqua. It is a degree that is designed for people who are early on in their careers, and in many cases, actively targets students who did not major in business at the undergraduate level. And most people in the United States have never heard of it. That degree is the Master in Management. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Caitlin, an Oxford MBA and admissions consultant who has helped hundreds of students win interviews and offers to attend all of the top business schools in the world. Let's start with a foundational distinction. The MBA is designed for people who already have a career. A typical applicant has anywhere from 3 to 10 years of work experience, and the class averages for the top MBA programs are usually 5 or 6 years of work experience. They come from completely different backgrounds: consulting, engineering, medicine, law, the military, finance, nonprofits, and the program has to meet them all where they are. That is why the MBA curriculum is structured the way that it is. The core courses will cover the fundamentals of business, which include strategy, finance, accounting, statistics, leadership, marketing, technology, and operations. But to accommodate the wide range of business knowledge in any given cohort, most programs offer tiered tracks within the core courses, which are usually like basic or advanced or basic intermediate advanced, so that the investment banker and the doctor can both get genuine value from the same program. Beyond the core, students have significant flexibility to specialize, and critically, the experience that people bring with them to the MBA isn't incidental, it's built into the curriculum. Class discussions are shaped by the fact that everyone has several years worth of experience to draw from. The MIM teaches the same subjects as the MBA: strategy, accounting, finance, tech and ops, leadership, and statistics. But the structure is fundamentally different because the students arriving have little or no work experience. Most MIM programs will run from 9 to 12 months rather than the 2-year MBA. They will also have more core required courses, and some MIM programs don't even allow you to take any electives. They are really aware of the fact that you're looking to gain exposure to companies and get some professional experience, so they build that in with more opportunities like consulting projects, internships, fellowships, and networking events. Expect significant client project work, direct employer engagement, and many study abroad options so that you can get experience with corporations all over the globe. The MIM is designed to give you a business foundation and some professional exposure that can help you to launch a career. And I will come back to this later in the video, but for some students, the MIM is not an alternative to an MBA. It's the beginning of one. Since most of you watching this will already have a sense for what an MBA is, let's spend most of our time on the MIM. This is where most people have questions and where, frankly, most content falls short. The first thing to understand about the MIM landscape is that it does not have one consistent name. Depending on the school, you will see it called Master in Management. You might see MSc in Management. You might see MS in Management Studies. It could be called the MS in Commerce. These are largely the same degree with different branding choices made by different institutions. Do not let the naming variations confuse you. Look at the curriculum, target profile, and career outcomes to quickly see whether this is an MIM by a different name. The second thing to understand is the geographic spread. The MIM has been a dominant credential in Europe for decades. Schools like London Business School, LSE, HEC Paris, IE Business School, and the University of St. Gallen have been running highly regarded MIM programs for years. And their graduates feed directly into the top management consulting firms, investment banks, and multinationals around Europe and the rest of the world. In contrast, the MIM is a newer and still growing credential in the United States. Schools like Cornell Johnson, UVA, Duke Fuqua, and Northwestern Kellogg have been growing their MIM offerings, and US employers are starting to recognize it more, but it's still not as established domestically as it is internationally. Something else worth noting is that just as the MBA has had to adapt to the changes that AI has brought to the job markets by focusing more on entrepreneurship, innovation, and higher order strategic thinking, the MIM has undergone the same kind of transformation. A number of top programs are now explicitly positioning themselves around building founders and innovators, not just corporate managers. So if that's where you see your career going, then it's worth paying attention to which programs are leaning more into that direction. The third dimension worth understanding is the non-business majors targeting. This is probably one of the biggest surprises of all the people that I talk to when I describe the MIM to them, is that many of these top schools are actually designing the MIM program to be a first degree in business. And so they will usually accept all majors, including business and economics majors, but oftentimes they will say, we will only accept you if you did not already study business. The logic is straightforward. If you studied engineering, arts, philosophy, or biology, and you want to get a foundation in business, then the MIM gives you that without requiring you to have come from a traditional business undergraduate background. This opens the degree to a much wider pool of applicants than people realize. What you should be looking at when you're evaluating MIM programs is the strength of their career services and employer recruiting relationships by finding out which companies hire from that program. You can also get a sense for this by looking at which companies participate in those programs where you do consulting work in the MIM. I always tell my students to go to LinkedIn and look at alumni from the program and see where are they working, what industries, what companies, and that will give you a very good sense for where these graduates actually end up. Another surprising place that you can find the strength of the connections that universities have to specific hiring companies and to markets or industries is by looking at the student clubs. Oftentimes, top firms will have relationships with these student clubs where they'll be sponsors or they'll send some of the employees to speak to club members. And oftentimes those will be listed on the websites of these student clubs, and that can give you some sense for how well connected that university is to the firms that you would like to go to, or even just your industry in general. Here is a simple checklist to help you understand whether the MIM could be the right path for you. First, you are within 0 to 3 years of graduating, or you are currently an undergraduate student and planning ahead. Your career goal is to enter business, finance, consulting, or management, and you want direct access to those recruiting pipelines. You have entrepreneurial plans and you want to gain the business knowledge and a network that will allow you to move forward with those goals. You want to do this now rather than working for several years and then returning to school later. The MBA is likely the right path for you if you already have meaningful years of work experience. You are looking to make a career pivot and you need the MBA credential and that new network. You are looking to open specific doors in your firm or within your industry that the MBA specifically will open for you. One is not better than the other. They are different degrees and for different moments. One more thing worth knowing, because it will change the calculus for some of you, is a growing number of universities are now offering MBA programs that will accept the MIM degree as the first half of the MBA. What this means in practice is that an MIM today does not necessarily close the door on an MBA later. It can actually become the foundation for one. You build the business fundamentals now, you go work for several years, and then when you're ready, you go do the MBA, and it's not like you're starting from zero. You are essentially completing a credential you already began. Not every school offers this, and the terms vary significantly by institution, so it is worth researching specifically for programs you are considering. But for someone who is genuinely uncertain about whether they might want to do the MBA later, this framing makes the MIM a considerably lower stakes decision than they might otherwise feel it is. If this opened up a path for you that you had not yet considered, I would encourage you to start exploring MIM programs alongside whatever MBA research you've already been doing. The application timelines and requirements are slightly different, and getting clear on where you are a competitive candidate is an important early step. If you want help thinking through which programs are the right fit for you, then you can check out some of the links in the description that I'm providing. I specialize in exactly this space, MBA and specialized master's programs, so I hope that you can find them helpful. If you found this video helpful, then consider subscribing. I publish videos like this regularly with clear, unspun information about graduate business school admissions. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.